And I would ask everybody to do the same thing that I would do for them, to withhold judgment until all those proceedings are done and all the information that is fleshed out. Yesterday I was informed that they suspended my license to teach concealed handgun classes. I'm very disappointed in that, and having been on the other side of that now, I have spoken to several people, including some lawyers, who I intend to very soon after this is done, after my case is over with, to work to get those laws changed. That just because you're charged with something, someone says something about you, that your license is automatically taken from you before you're proven that you're guilty. And once again, I appreciate all of the support, social media, phone calls, emails. It's been tremendous. We knew this was coming. We knew this was coming before the election. It's nothing more than I said it was at the very beginning, that this is nothing more than about politics. So once again, I look forward to keeping the people of Benton County safe. I sure hope that people keep an open mind and see this for what it is and re-elect me as your sheriff so I can continue to do the good work that we've done. I appreciate everyone being here, and I'm sure that we will have more to release as time goes on. Thank you.
Let me get those bikes for you, sir.
And that's Sheriff Cradduck. He said he was not going to be taking questions after his statement, and as he said, he just reiterated that he is concealed carry. As far as the instruction has been, he is suspended from that, but he will still continue his campaign, and he's continuing to serve as sheriff.
All right, guys, I'm gonna do this as quick as possible. I know you guys are close. And as I'm getting older, you guys are all looking younger and younger in the news. Next time I won't bring out coffee, I'll bring out hot chocolate.
Oh, come on. Could you start by saying your name and your
Yeah,
position?
familiar with it. Bill Adams, BILL-ADAMS, campaign manager for Sheriff Cradduck. And, okay, some things to make perfectly clear, because social media and a few other things that post, well, gosh, the sheriff can't carry a gun. Yes, the sheriff carries a gun. He's a constitutional officer for the state. A patrolman or something cannot take constitutional officers' duties or rights away from him. He is still a sheriff, still carry a gun when he wants to. So don't think that because he lost his concealed handgun course permit that affects his job in any way. He's still the chief law officer for this county and doing a great job. So many of you have seen my tweets last night. Some of you are part of them. In the story this morning from the paper, it mentions it, and it's very important that you actually understand the facts behind this. I've read the allegations, I've read the arrest warrant and everything else, and folks, there's nothing in this but hearsay and a few allegations that aren't proven. And I will tell you that I've contacted lawyers. I said, put me on your witness list, because the one thing in there that in the entire process is a conversation reported by the secretary saying, well, he said this, this, this. She led the entire conversation, right? The entire thing is a very small issue about an HR issue, but she led the entire conversation. He was at home. All he did was just simply say, yes, okay, 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 yes. And he was a little bit frustrated that a person that had been here for 2 weeks, that he gave an order for him to be hired, still wasn't hired. Folks, if any of you were ever given a job and had to sit in that office for 2 weeks, you would demand to be paid. Cox didn't. Now, I realize there were other issues with Cox. He was let go because of professionalism, but still, the point is, if you had to sit somewhere for 2 weeks and not get paid, you'd want somebody like the sheriff in your corner. Now, to the point of what we're going to get at is that the secretary told me personally, my first day here on the campaign, it came in, all this stuff was hitting. She said, Mr. Adams, I was forced to say what I did, or forced to do what I did by none other than the two people that were on that list. Mr. Mahan, excuse me. Make sure I got this right. Mr. Atchison And Sean Holloway forced me to do what I did. Direct quote. Told me that directly. So I'm saying to you right now, don't believe all this hype that you're seeing. And first off, this is just an HR issue. Now, when it comes to the tweets from last night, the Democrat-Gazette, and Tracy, I love you. I've known you for a long time, but when you become a mouthpiece for this propaganda machine, it's not good. Tracy tweeted me last night. I'm going to send you guys the tweets. Tweeted me at 2:24. Hey, can you comment on the sheriff losing his CHC license? So I thought about it for a while, and I called the sheriff, and he didn't know anything about it. So apparently someone in the state police office or someone is feeding you information before the fact. Oddly enough, Tracy, when the warrant was issued, you knew about it before it was even signed. When the sheriff was, quote unquote, arrested last week during a debate, you were already here waiting. Before he even received this information, you knew about it. You're no longer a reporter. And you can no longer be trusted with the source. Listen, and this is the truth, guys. When you can't trust the source, you can't trust the message.
Okay, since
Hold on. If you're being fed information before it's even out there, then I've got to question the source and the reliability. It's just a simple fact.
Well, can I ask one thing real quick here?
No. You're part of a propaganda machine.
Well, this propaganda machine want to ask something then real quick.
No.
So are you telling me that TV reporters have never written a story? No one in TV has ever broken a story before.
Tracy.
So once you break a story, you're part of a propaganda
that
machine.
You have information before it is public. And it's got to come from the state troopers.
Well,
not the entire office, folks. There's probably a leak in there. But if they're leaking information, they're trying to influence what's going on in Benton County's election.
But regardless of whether or not he knew about it, that it was going to happen anyway. It's not like he issued the warrant or he.
I understand that, but please understand something. If the state troopers, or if the Arkansas State Police, let me make sure I'm clear on that. If the Arkansas State Police is to be above reproach, they cannot get involved in the political process. They can't be leaking information to try to sway potential jurors, potential judges, and the people. But that's exactly what's happening. I don't know. I'm not saying the entire state police. There are great people in the state police. But if you have one in there that's leaking information to try to influence what's going on, you cannot trust the source, and therefore you cannot trust the message. So we're going to ask the Attorney General. I'm going to ask the Attorney General of the state of Arkansas to look into this. Because if we can't trust our own state police with information, then we have a very big issue. And this has nothing to do with Sheriff Cradduck. This is simply the fact that if we can't trust, we have an issue. So that being said, thank you again for coming out here. Tracy, I'm sorry. I've talked to you many times. I've sent you tweets and everything else, and text. I'm sorry. The fact that you're getting information from supposedly a source that is causing all this stuff, we're done for now.
Well, if we could talk about trust just for a minute.
Well, let me just get this straight.
Campaign in a political office too. He's charged with tampering with evidence.
And if you look,
could mislose. I mean, that could lose public trust immediately.
Absolutely. And to the sheriff's point, he is a man of the law. He said this many, many times. When the court case comes up, which if it comes up, as you realize, it's way past the election, right? Could have easily have done this a lot sooner. It should have taken 4 or 5 months to investigate all this. This is a simple thing. Everything that's in there, they had 4 months ago. Nothing has changed. There's nothing new in the arrest or anything. So this could have been done 4 months ago, but conveniently enough, it was waited to the exact date that would have caused the hearing and everything else to be beyond the election. Is that coincidence? Occam's razor says, look at the simplest definition, and that's probably the truth.
Well, you all can simply ask for the arraignment date to be moved up or moved back.
It was. They said no, couldn't do it. So, folks.
Did you ask the judge? Did you request it for the judge?
You were there with the judge, Tracy.
No, I'm talking about Judge.
The attorney looked and said, "What are you doing here?"
I'm talking about Judge Green.
How did you know about stuff before anybody else, Tracy? Tracy, again, you're part of the mouthpiece of what's going on here.
Well,
you're a propaganda machine.
I'm a propaganda machine, but right now,
folks,
you called a press conference to attack the newspaper.
And rightly so, because oddly enough, that's exactly what you're doing to a candidate. You're trying to influence an election instead of being a news source. So I'm sorry. You guys have constantly been doing this, and it's obvious what's going on now. And I'll be tweeting. I'll be sending you guys the tweets from Tracy and I to show you the date, the timestamps. And whenever I ask him, "How do you know about this?" Suddenly it went dark for 2.5 hours. He wouldn't answer.
No,
So
I didn't.
folks-
I didn't answer
Aren't
because
you trying to influence the coverage?
Me or him?
Well, you right now. That's what I'm hearing.
My job is to try to tell the people why he's the best candidate. That's my job. The press job, from what I learned in civics class when I was young, was to find a story and tell the truth, not try to influence the story
Okay.
and sway it in one direction.
So what is the political motivation of Arkansas State Police?
Again, it's not the entire state police. It's someone in there.
What would that
Obviously,
person's
it's a
motivation
smear
be?
campaign. It's obvious. The timing has been impeccable. Let's issue a warrant the day he makes his announcement. Let's issue an arrest the day he's in the middle of a debate. The timing is impeccable. And let's not serve that warrant for 2.5 hours until he's actually making his announcement to run for office. The timing is impeccable for these people, and you cannot say that all these coincidences are just coincidence.
From a campaign standpoint, too, it's really important. I've been hearing from a lot of people that these different organizations and agencies and state police and Bentonville and Benton County work together. What we're seeing now by your tweets, they're accusatory towards state police. What we're seeing now is kind of a split, a rift, a divide. What are people going to think about that when they go to